Hello, everybody. Hope everybody is doing well. And to all of you who have been following our series, you know that we've been talking about mudras and a bit of yoga. And in the Zen Master series that we had, in the second of the series, we again have Mridu, the lovely Mridu, with us. And as you know, she's been a yogini in a modern yogini, as I would like to call it. Making yoga very simple for and easy for many of us in today's world. So last time we spoke about three mudras, and in those three mudras, they were mostly about, all three of them were about grounding and revitalizing the
Yes.
prana in our in our bodies. And we had spoken a little bit about breathing and the breathing technique, right? And we said that we'll talk about it a little bit more. So
Right.
today's video, what are we going to talk about, Mridu?
Okay, so I thought maybe we can discuss a little bit about respiratory issues. Living in these cities with the polluted air that we are forced to breathe day in and day out, a lot of us who were born with perfectly healthy lungs as well do undergo or do experience or do suffer from some seasonal allergies, sinus issues, bronchial infections,
Yes.
bronchial infections which over a period of time turn into asthma.
Yeah.
So-
And I think nowadays also some of the infection or even cough, what would usually go away in a few days, it takes a longer time. So,
True.
It's probably also related
True.
not just to the pollution but the way that we breathe.
The way that we breathe, the way that we are handling our day-to-day life and the situations that we are living through. Okay? All of that is related. So it's a long topic, and we'll try to just briefly touch upon some of the things that could be, and then perhaps the viewers can go and do their own research and maybe come back with questions. And that'll be lovely.
Yeah.
An interactive session.
Sure.
So to begin with, why I decided to try out the mudras. These mudras are not part of my regular practice. In my regular yoga practice, there are just a couple of mudras, Dhyan Mudra, Chinna Mudra, which is what I practice practically every day. Last year, I had a chest infection. That's when I realized that I had to take allopathic help. No amount of nebulization or bronchodilators were allowing me to breathe better. And I realized I experienced palpitation. And you feel tired all the time. You feel low on energy all the time. But when you
Yes.
go to bed, you're not able to sleep. Because apparently breathing is also essential to sleeping better. If you're not breathing better, you're not
Yeah.
sleeping well either. It's a
Yes.
vicious circle. If you're not
Yes.
sleeping well, then you're feeling tired all the time. If you're feeling tired all the time, it makes you anxious. Okay?
Yes.
So we will eventually come to the reasons for anxiety as well and
Sure.
how breath is related to it. But to start with, bronchitis or bronchial infections where our bronchial nodes swell up and then they don't allow the flow of breath in the body, in the lungs, from where the breath is to be distributed all over the body. So the mudra for that, the bronchial mudra, is simple enough. You take any comfortable position and you bring the top of your middle finger
Okay.
to touch the pad of the thumb
Okay.
on top. The ring finger will be at the thumb joint
Okay.
and the tiny finger will be at the bottom.
Okay. Something like this?
Yes. And now extend your index finger out
Okay.
on both hands. Extending the index finger out.
Okay.
Place your hands, support them over your legs, place them on the thighs, support them here. And now bring your attention to your breath. If you find it easy to do with your eyes closed, then do that. Close your eyes and bring your attention to your breath. Inhale slowly into the abdomen. Pause and exhale very slowly. Good. Once again, inhale all the way into the abdomen. Pause for a moment and exhale. 3 more breaths like this. Inhale deep into the abdomen. Pause. Exhale. Take a deep breath in. Pause. Exhale. Inhale deeply. Pause at the top of the breath. Exhale. Do this for about 4 to 6 minutes if you are experiencing difficulty in breath due to bronchitis. And then release and breathe normally. And you see a difference in the way that your lungs start responding. The most important thing is to calm yourself down, which is the most challenging part.
Yes.
Because when you're not breathing right,
Yes.
it's impossible to be calm.
Yes.
Okay?
Like you said, it's a vicious circle. You're not breathing right, and you have probably multiple thoughts every second. You have dozens of
Yes.
thoughts every second, and that in turn, your breathing, continues to make your breathing shallow. And then again, it's like it's very difficult. And like this particular mudra, when I was doing it, it does require your focus and your attention.
Exactly.
And
That's
I
the
think
key.
I think so. That's how it helps.
That's how it helps.
Yeah.
Because you are taking the attention away from that stressed out breathing. Okay? You are asking yourself to concentrate on holding a mudra. Okay? So once you are not focusing on your problems of
Yeah.
breathing,
Yeah.
you're focusing on something else.
Yeah, and
That
you can't. I think with this movie you can't. It's
Yes.
like
It's a little bit of
interesting.
challenge.
It's challenging, but it's very interesting that how it can really bring you together to actually
Exactly.
relieve anxiety and then
Yes,
improve
because
your breathing.
the minute you distract your mind from the trouble of breathing and you give your mind something else to do, which in this case is to hold a particular posture, a particular
Yeah.
gesture,
Yeah.
then the energy is brought here and that takes away some of the stress of breathing. And then I'm simultaneously asking you to take a deep breath, pause at the top of the breath, and then exhale it slowly instead of going into quick, shallow breathing, which is what most people with asthma tend to do. They tend to breathe very fast
Yeah.
because because their lungs are not cooperating at that time. They're feeling congestion, so they tend to breathe more and more, going
Yeah.
into hyperventilation,
Yeah.
which in turn reduces the amount of carbon dioxide in the body. Okay, and now carbon dioxide is essential to oxygenating the brain. Okay, so if you're not breathing properly, if you're not exhaling completely, the brain is not getting enough oxygen.
Yeah, and that's something we don't think about.
No,
We generally don't think about that. The exhalation, exhaling right is also
important. We just keep concentrating on drawing in deep breaths,
Yeah.
or not deep breaths, but just fast breaths,
Yeah.
and in turn, it leads to hyperventilation.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so the thing to do at that point is to just calm yourself down, sit into this mudra, 4 to 6 minutes you practice this and you feel the difference. You will observe that it has started calming you down. Okay?
Yeah, I'm sure because in probably 10 seconds or 5 seconds that I did it, it really brought the focus. So I think 4 to 6 minutes will be
Yes,
magical.
so right now neither one of us is experiencing much stress in breathing. Fortunately, we're not suffering from
Yeah.
anything at the moment.
Right.
So that's why even doing it for 15 seconds and 20 seconds was enough to bring your focus to your breath and calmed you down in the process. But somebody who's actually experiencing difficulty with breathing will need slightly longer time
Right, yeah,
for it to
that's
work.
true. That's
So
true.
for those of you who do have these issues of congestion, of bronchial infections, you need to start practicing when you are healthy. You cannot practice in the middle of an attack, okay? Because your brain, it needs some time to get used to anything new that you're trying to make it do. So you have to start practicing when you're healthy and then bring it into effect when you are undergoing an episode. It's like, how do I make a comparison?
It's not like, I've got a cold and then I say, oh, I saw this video by Mridu, and
It
let me do the mudra, and it'll magically go away. It's not about it's not about
I
magic.
don't think it would work that way.
Yeah, so it's
Practice makes a man perfect. It's
Yeah.
still true. After all these years, you need to practice something beforehand.
And
You need to
when you're
internalize
healthy
the practice, especially when you're healthy. And internalize the practice. Okay? Teach your brain that this is what it needs to do in this situation. And that is when the training, when you are actually having an episode, the training will kick in. But
Right.
only when there has been some practice.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, true.